I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy, remember it? So you don't have to. A lot of us grew up with Tiny Toon Adventures, the kids show that mixed child-friendly humor with Looney Tunes-style adult jokes. It started Warner Brothers' hot streak of hit shows and gave us some colorful and memorable episodes. But did you know that 25 years ago, to this very day, actually this week, but still creepy, there was an episode that was written by kids? 3 13-year-olds to be precise. Some of you might even remember. It kinda stood out from the other episodes. It was called Buster and Babs Go Hawaiian, and it began with Buster and Babs actually being told that the episode was being written by 3 teenage girls, Rene Carter, Sarah Creef, and Amy Crosby. The episode seemed odd, to say the least, but still funny. But a lot of us were wondering how much of this was actually true. Were there really 3 kids that were allowed to write a script for a popular TV show? Was this just a made-up story, an excuse to get more PR, or some kind of in-joke? Speculation and conspiracy swept the internet. The conspiracy, of course, that the internet didn't exist yet. Well, I have with me one of the writers who claims to have written this episode. Live via Skype, it's Rene Carter. Hello, Rene!
Hi.
Rene, if that is your real name, explain to us how the process of writing this episode with your friends all took place.
Well, it didn't really start out as a script. It actually started out as a drawing that I was just kind of doodling at lunch in the cafeteria. One of my friends had actually made a comment about that, which then sparked the idea for the story. And of course, this is like number 2 pencil on notebook paper. It was about as 8th grade as you're going to get.
Were these drawings like literally that, just drawings, or was it like a comic where they had word bubbles and such?
Yeah, just kind of drawings with word bubbles. It wasn't anything as organized that I would actually call a comic.
You expect me to believe that you ingeniously did what the original Looney Tunes animators did, where instead of writing a script, they just did a bunch of drawings like storyboards and then eventually turned that into a cartoon?
Sometimes you kind of know what you're doing even when you don't know what you're doing.
Don't patronize me, Rene.
We managed to find an address for the local Fox affiliate. We didn't understand about syndications. Typed up a letter to go with it, forgot to sign the letter, threw everything into an envelope and mailed it. We had no idea it was going to be made into an episode. We weren't gunning for that. It was something that we did for fun. It was passed along from one envelope to another, and either we're doing that either out of the goodness of their heart or didn't know what they were doing and passed it on, and it got to the right people.
So how did they let you know they were going to make an episode out of your script?
Well, Warner Brothers, or in this case, Gene McCurdy, first called and just kind of said, we got the story and, we really enjoyed it and just, wanted to let you know that. She and Barbara Brogliotti, who was also staff for the show, flew out to my house. And that was when they first told us that we're going to make this actually into an episode and, we want you to be part of the process, and that they were going to actually fly us out there and meet with the writers and meet with Spielberg and, and have a chance to do all these things.
So tell me about going to Hollywood, meeting the writers, and being Steven Spielberg's new best friend. I'm assuming you two are still like this.
They really set up a whole itinerary for us. Family Matters, we went to a taping of that. Six Flags, Magic Mountain, we did all that stuff. That all kind of culminated then in meeting with Spielberg. We then had the whole story meeting with, as far as I can remember, most, if not all, of the staff writers were there. And approximately 10 million camera people following us around the whole time. And we had a chance then to kind of, sit and go through the preliminary script that they had sent to us and throw out ideas and, and go through the whole process.
Tell me you were woman enough to demand the changes you wanted to the script, and you didn't let any staff writer kind enough to let you be there push you around.
We had input. We had things like, okay, you really need to keep this in because, we thought this was really funny, or we're trying to kind of explain where something came from. I just remember just kind of everybody bouncing off of everything else, idea-wise. I remember laughing, just nonstop. I just remember a great deal of fun, more than anything else with that whole meeting.
Do you remember any of the writers in particular?
Let's see. I know Sherry Stoner was there. I remember because, they were telling us that she was, the live-action reference for Ariel and the Little Mermaid, and that kind of stuck in my mind.
Was it strange seeing yourself as a cartoon character and hearing someone else do your voice?
Yeah, there's nothing normal about seeing yourself as a cartoon character.
I've dabbled in anime myself.
It's kind of like, seeing a caricature. You always have that moment of, wait, I look like that. Although, ironically, at that time, I had an outfit exactly like the one that I'm wearing in the cartoon, and that was a little creepy because I, didn't actually wear that at the time. We thought at first that maybe we were going to get a chance to do our own voices, but the logistics of that just didn't work out. I didn't find out until later that it was apparently Cree Summer who was doing my voice, which is pretty awesome.
The plane stays. Now back to work.
Did she listen to your voice at all and try to get it down?
I have no idea. At the time, we were sort of half amused and half irritated by the southern accents that we were given.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be filming our script?
So I don't know how much listening they were doing, or if it was just kind of like, okay, do a basic 13-year-old girl's voice.
That's an actor for you. Always messing with the writer's vision.
In the episode, the first third is setting up the concept with Hampton getting pushed out of his big episode to make way for your episode and Spielberg's real voice interacting with everyone and such. Was that always in the original script? Because mad props if you had the proud ego to do that.
Most of that was added by the other writers. Later in, as kind of the actual script was developed. What we sent in was basically just like the base story. Yeah, they were good about like keeping us in the process. We got copies of the later script and everything, and obviously they had to pad it out a lot to get a full episode out of it.
I of course have to ask, what was Spielberg like?
At the risk of sounding cliche, he was awesome.
Come on, please, don't you have any dirt on him? Nobody does. He's like the world's nicest director.
There's a reason all the people at the Oscars are thanking him. He took us seriously, and when you're 13, that's a big deal.
So why do you think he, as well as the other producers, said yes to making the script?
Well, do you want the cynical answer or the egotistical answer that it was brilliant?
Well, like most writers, be egotistically cynical.
Honestly, it was great PR for them. We knew that even at the time, doing all kinds of interviews, print interviews, People Magazine 2020, it was good for them. I would like to think that what they also said at the time was true, which was that this was kind of their way of giving back to the fans of the show. Of course, this was at a time when, they didn't have as close of a relationship potentially with fans and creators that you do now. So, I think it was a little bit of both.
What are your thoughts of this happening nowadays, especially with social media? You think this is something that never happens, or it happens even more?
I think it is more likely to happen now because of social media. But of course, it's different. Obviously, you still have robust legal departments that keep some things out. But there's a lot of dialogue that happens now, both ways, and for better or for worse, it has pros and cons.
So naturally, I have to ask, are you still writing? Tell me you're the head writer of 7D.
I'm still writing. I write science fiction and fantasy. Self-published a few things, had some other things in small presses. I do a fair amount of short stories. Drawing, art is kind of more of a thing I do for myself every so often. That's a little bit more of a hobby, but it's kind of gone dormant lately.
Well, you've had a very rare experience that almost no other kid has ever had and would love to have. What do you take away from it?
One of the things I'd want to express is just how grateful I am to everybody who was involved in that, and just what an incredible experience it was, for me. Again, that's something that at 13 you don't necessarily think to say. I also, have another reason to be thankful, because if it hadn't been for everything that went on with the show, I probably would have never met my husband.
Plucky duck.
He was a fan of the show and wrote to me, and wrote to the three of us, actually. And I was the one who wrote back, and we kept sending letters back and forth, and friendship turned into more, and we're actually going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary next year. So I'm also grateful for that.
Tell me you two used to send Tiny Toon Valentines to each other. They did used to make those.
We used to. We used to do quite a bit of that. As a matter of fact, I had a drawing of Buster and Babs on our rehearsal dinner invitations. We had a nod to it.
Well, you can see more of Renee's writing at the link below, as well as discover more about this experience at her blog. Rene, congrats to you and your friends on such a funny episode, and thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and I don't know about you, but I'm in an even more nostalgic mood. Hey, Doug Walker here doing the charity Shoutout, and this week we are doing livestrong.org. The Livestrong Foundation fights to improve the lives of people affected by cancer. Created in 1997, the foundation is known for leading an ongoing dialogue with patients and survivors, providing free cancer support services and advocating for policies that improve access to care and quality of life. Known for its powerful brand, Livestrong has become a symbol of hope and inspiration around the world. Since its inception, the foundation has served 2.5 million people affected by the disease and raised more than $500 million to support cancer survivors. Being one of America's top nonprofit organizations, the foundation enjoys a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator and has been recognized by the National Health Council and the Better Business Bureau for its excellence in governance. You can go to their website or their YouTube channel to hear so many inspiring stories. Definitely go and check them out.